Yeah, Mrs. Richardson and Wallace, just so you know where I'm coming from. The way liquidation works in this state, and often the way the liquidators act, constitute often the most ugly face of capitalism in this state. So I'm not surprised that you, and I do understand as well, that you are operating to a political master or boss in the form of the Minister for Finance, but I'm not surprised that you are therefore throwing vulnerable homeowners to the wolves, which is often done with workers, for example, in companies that you move in and liquidate, where workers are often the last to be looked after. Can I ask you, who are the bidders currently in the process for the 13,000 roughly mortgage is?
I think we said, Deputy, earlier on, for commercial and sensitivity reasons, we can't disclose who those bidders are.
When will you disclose that?
When the process is finished.
When the sale is completed?
Correct.
Isn't that an incredible position? I mean, even a slave in ancient Rome kind of knew who was bidding to take them into bondage, and if they were being shifted from one slave master to another, at least they kind of knew where they were going. You don't even afford that courtesy to the 13,000 plus couples and partners and families that are now undergoing this stress. Do you think that's acceptable?
It is the process that we have underway in respect of the sale of each of the portfolios. It's what we have implemented in our previous two sales, Evergreen and Rock and Salt. And given the volatile nature of the actual bidding process itself, it's very hard to determine who actually is going to come through as a final bidder until very close to the actual bidding date.
Why can't you tell us all the bidders?
Because for competitive tension reasons, it would be inappropriate for us to disclose the names of the bidders and the number of bidders for each of the portfolios.
Deputy Higgins, I just need to be excused for a few moments, and Deputy Toomey will just vice chair for me for the time, few moments, okay? Excuse me.
Why is this, you know, I was a young fellow in the Dingle Fair. We brought in the cows. We had several jobbers, as we called them, bidding for our cattle. We knew who they were. What's the difference? Why is it anti-competitive?
That's the decision myself and Mr. Richardson have taken, that we are not going to be disclosing the bidders until after the sales process is complete.
Do you realise the arrogance of your position, Mr. Wallace and Mr. Richardson? The way you deal with Irish citizens in this way, you won't give their elected representatives the most basic knowledge. Are they international vulture capitalists, venture funds, as you would probably call them? Can you tell us that?
Deputy, I've answered the question.
No, I'm asking you a new question. What's the nature? Are they based in Ireland or outside of Ireland?
A number of them have operations in Ireland.
But where is their headquartered?
Yeah, their headquarters are outside of Ireland.
Outside of Ireland is a very big place, Mr. Wallace. Can you be more specific?
Deputy, that's as far as I'm going on that particular issue. Again, for
have you looked into their track record in what they've done in other, when they've acted as vulture capitalists in other situations, the type of profits they've made, how they've acted? Have you looked at their track records, at least?
Yes, I have.
And?
I'm very satisfied in relation to their track record.
What does that mean? That they don't?
I have experience of how they have dealt in other situations, and they've dealt very well with similar borrowers in similar situations.
Well, judging by the morality of the financial markets and this whole shadow banking and all the rest of it, the standards that apply there, you know, by the standards of those operating may be good. They're not good from the point of view of ordinary people. Now, in regard to the PricewaterhouseCoopers report, the Minister did tell me in the Dáil last week that he would ask you to give us that, or to give us a redacted version of it, but you're refusing to do it. Why are you keeping elected representatives in the dark about the advice that you got? We might have something to say on. Were you given different options, for example?
No.
The only option you were given by PricewaterhouseCoopers is to sell off 13,000 mortgages to put them on the market for vulture capitalists.
That was the recommendation, yes.
Did you look for any other options?
Yes, we asked PricewaterhouseCoopers to give us their professional view as to how they thought the loans should be sold.
And they came back with one?
They came back with a clear recommendation, yes.
Yeah, well, why don't you give it to us?
For commercially sensitive reasons, I can't give it to you at this juncture. We did genuinely look at redacting it, but it would have made it incomprehensible from your perspective, given the level of detail we have to redact.
You know, you referred several times to so-called independent advice. Is PricewaterhouseCoopers part of that process?
Yes.
Do you realise that among ordinary people, many of these institutions have zilch credibility? PricewaterhouseCoopers, for example, were the accountants to Gamma Construction and were forced to resign when we exposed a massive industrial worker exploitation scandal that they had turned a blind eye to. What faith can the mortgage holders in IBRC have in these insiders in this process?
Well, as I said before, Deputy, we went out to a competitive tender seeking the appointment of independent advisors in relation to the sales process, and PwC were the successful candidate.
Yeah, in the same way as Irish Water tendered, and we're on an inside track right along the line. Contractual terms, the Minister told us, will not change for the mortgage holders. You go along with that?
Of the mortgage holders where we have deals agreed with those mortgage holders.
What can change for the mortgage, say for the 12,700 mortgage holders, what can change under new owners of their mortgages?
Nothing, Deputy. Whatever is agreed with IBRC will follow through to the new acquirers of the loans.
Can the new owners put up interest rates?
If the terms of the agreement with the borrower provide for that, yes, that is possible.
So, in order to get back, maximise their gamble, which is what these people do, they can put up interest rates at will on their mortgage clients.
It's at will, Deputy. I think it's only in circumstances where the provisions of the agreement with the borrower come up for review or renewal at a particular point in time.
Do you accept that? Do you accept that mortgage holders in difficult arrears situation can come under enormous pressure from these vulture capitalists?
It's not my experience on the ground, I have to say, Deputy, in relation to the two other loan books that have been sold in Ireland in recent times.
I'm sorry, Mr.
There's two other loan books of similar nature that have been sold in Ireland in recent times, and from just being an insolvency practitioner, it's not my experience that they take a tougher line. No.
What kind of an assurance is that going into the future, Mr. Wallace?
Have you just asked me for my own view?
I know some dogs who are very nice because I know them, but if a new dog comes on the block, it might be quite vicious. How can you say that they won't act in a brutal fashion in pressurising people with arrears if it suits them to try and pressurise them out of their homes?
Deputy, you asked me what my experience was, and I gave you what my experience is.
But you can give no assurance whatsoever in regard to how these entities will act to the mortgage holders who are now under quite a lot of stress in regard to what's coming down the line.
I can just reflect my experience of what I see happening on the ground.
Which is no guarantee, as they say, of future performance.
I've been clear on that, yes.
Yeah.
Do it now in 30 seconds.
Okay. Mr. Wallace, Mr. Richardson, did you ever at any stage, and again, I have to say that, of course, we hold the Minister for Finance in his government primarily responsible for this mess and all that's involved here. But did you at any stage look at the option of maintaining those mortgages in forms of state ownership to protect mortgage holders and reassure them and allow them to continue to live in peace in reasonable terms?
Second, Deputy. To be fair, Deputy, no, we didn't consider that, no.
You didn't?
No.
Sorry, Deputy, your time is finished.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I mean, you guys are so suffused with the ethos of the capitalist marketplace, you can't even consider, for example, such an option. Doesn't that...
This thought is concluded.